Let's have a look at this question based on average velocity. A body travels first half of the total distance with velocity v1 and the second half with velocity v2. Calculate the average velocity. So in this question, we have to find out average velocity. Now let me show you the situation given in the question. Let's say this is our car and the total length of the journey, let it be L. Now we divide the journey into two parts, first part and the second part. The first part of the journey is of length L by 2 and the second part is also of the length L by 2. Now during first half, car traveled with velocity v1 and during the second half, car traveled with velocity v2. We have to find the average velocity during the entire journey. Okay? So, what is the formula of average velocity? Do you remember the formula? You will say yes. What is the formula? The formula is average velocity is total displacement upon total time. Great. Now, what is the total displacement you can see over here? Total displacement is L. So, average velocity is total displacement L divided by total time. Now, let me write the time for the first half of the journey as T1 and for the second half of the journey as T2. What is time taken for the first half of the journey? What is T1? You will say distance covered during time T1 is L by 2 and the speed was V1. So this is the time T1. Now tell me the time T2. You will say distance covered in the second half is L by 2 and the speed in the second half was V2. Great. So this is time T2. Now let us find the average velocity. So average velocity you can see is total displacement L divided by T1 plus T2. T1 is L by 2v1 and T2 is L by 2v2 and from this we are getting 2v1 v2 divided by v1 plus v2. This is our average velocity. Got it? Yes. So we got the final answer and let us see the options and option D is the right answer for our question. Let's see this question on projectile motion. For a given angle of projection, if the initial velocity is doubled, the range of the projectile will become. Nice question. So what is happening? We are doubling the initial velocity, but the angle of projection, we are keeping it same. And we have to tell what will happen to the range. Will it become half? Will it become 1/4? Will it become 2 times? Will it become 4 times? What will happen to the range? Now let me show you the two situations. Here we fire a particle with initial velocity v. Let the range be r. Now if we fire another particle with initial velocity 2v, the new range, let's call it r dash. Now what is the relationship between r dash and r? This is the question. How do we find the relation? Do we know the formula of finding range? Yes, we remember the formula. Okay, tell me what is the formula of range? Well, range is nothing but u square sine 2 theta by g. Good. Here theta is the angle of projection. Nice. Now, angle of projection is same in both the cases. So, in the first case, range is r. R will be written as initial velocity was v. So, v square sine 2 theta divided by g. How to find r dash? Well, r dash will be, now the initial velocity is 2v. So let me write 2v whole square. And then we have sine 2 theta divided by g. From these two equations, we get r by r dash as 1 by 4. And you know, r dash is coming out to be equal to 4 times r. So range will become 4 times if you double the initial velocity, keeping the angle of projection same. Range will become 4 times. Now let's see the option. Option D, 4 times, is the right answer for this question. Let's have a look at this beautiful question. If the incident ray is kept fixed, if the incident light ray is kept fixed, but mirror turns through an angle theta clockwise, by what angle the reflected ray will turn through? Good question. So let's see the situation given in the question. Let's say this is our plane mirror and this is the incident light ray. Let the angle of incidence be alpha. Now, if the angle of incidence is alpha, what is the angle of reflection? Angle of reflection is also alpha. We know that. So this is our reflected light ray. Good. Now, what we will do, we will turn the mirror by an angle theta clockwise. So we turn the mirror. Now you can see, if the mirror is turned by an angle theta, the normal will also turn by an angle theta. Normal is always perpendicular to the mirror. It will turn along with the mirror. We know that. So we have turned the normal also. Now tell me, what is the total angle of incidence? Take your time. What is the total angle of incidence? The new angle of incidence now is alpha plus theta. Good, because we have turned the normal. So this is alpha plus theta, angle of incidence. What will be the angle of reflection? Angle of reflection will also be alpha plus theta. Nice. So this will be alpha plus theta. And this is our reflected light ray. Good? Good. Now, what do we have to find out? We have to find out by how much angle the reflected light ray turns. So initial reflected light ray is this. The final reflected light ray is this. What is the angle turned? You can see the angle turned is in the clockwise direction. Yes? So let the angle turned by the reflected light ray be beta. We have to calculate what is the value of beta. What is the value of beta? This is the question. How to find that? Very easy. What we will do, we will find two angles. So this is my first favorite angle, which will give us the reflected light ray from incident light ray. Let this angle be alpha plus alpha, 2 alpha. And now we will find this angle from incident light ray to the final reflected light ray. This angle is 2 alpha plus 2 theta, because we have added alpha plus theta and alpha plus theta to get this angle. Now we want beta. So beta is 2 alpha plus 2 theta minus 2 alpha. And beta is coming out to be 2 theta. Got it? Yes, we got it. Now let's see the options, and we can see that we have to see that we have 2 theta clockwise as the angle turned by the reflected light ray. So option C is the right answer for our question. Here is a nice question on plane mirrors. Two plane mirrors are inclined at 70 degrees. Now, if you see the figure, we have mirror M1 and mirror M2. They are inclined at 70 degrees. Yes, a ray incident on one mirror at an angle theta after reflection falls on the second mirror and is reflected from there parallel to the first mirror. Then the angle theta is. So it is said that the final reflected light ray, this light ray, is parallel to the first mirror, this mirror. These two things are parallel. Find the angle theta. Got the question? We have to find out the angle theta. And these are the options. Good. Now let's see how to solve this question. What is given? It is given that this light ray, the final reflected light ray from the second mirror, is parallel to the first mirror. So if these two things are parallel, then this angle must be 70 degree, because this angle was 70 degree. Okay? Yes. Now, can you tell me what is the angle made by the reflected light ray from this normal of mirror M2. This is the normal of mirror M2. This means this angle is 90 degree. What is the angle made by the reflected light ray from this normal? Can you tell me the angle? You will say yes. After all, the total angle is 90. Therefore, this must be 20 degree because 20 plus 70 is equal to 90 degree. Yes. Now, if the angle of reflection from the second mirror is 20 degree, what is the angle of incidence on the second mirror? What is this angle? Angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. So this angle must be 20 degree. Great. This angle is 20 degree. Now, can you tell me this awesome angle? Can you tell me this angle? You will say yes. How? Well, we see that total angle by a line is 180 degree. So total angle on this plane mirror is 180 degree. And this is equal to 70 degree plus 20 degree plus 20 degree plus this required angle alpha. So I will add alpha. So from this we get alpha is equals to 70 degree. This is equal to 70 degree. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, let's talk about the first mirror. We know angle made by normal from the mirror is 90 degree. So, with this, tell me this angle. Can you tell me this angle? You will say yes. 90 degree minus theta. So awesome. Now, what is the total angle in a triangle? If we add all the three angles of the triangle, we must get 180 degree. Now, one angle is 70 degree, another angle is 70 degree, and the third angle is 90 minus theta. Let's add them. So, we must get 180 degree. It is equal to 70 plus 70 plus 90 degree minus theta. From this we obtain the value of theta, and theta, you know, is coming out to be 50 degrees. Can you see that? Yes, of course. Now let's see the options. Option A, 50 degree, is the right answer for our question. Here is a nice and practical question on plane mirrors. So this is our everyday experience. A man 180 centimeter high stands in front of a plane mirror. So there is a person standing in front of a plane mirror. Everyday experience. His eyes are at the height of 170 centimeter from the floor. So we know what is the eye level of the person. Then the minimum length of the plane mirror required for him to see his full image will be. So what should be the minimum length of the mirror so that the person can see his full image? Now, if the person wants to see his full image, this means the light rays from the foot of the man and light rays from the top of the head of this man must reach his eyes after reflection. Okay? Yes. Now, if we have a really large mirror, then also these light rays will reach his eyes. But we want the minimum length of the plane mirror. So, we have erased the upper and the lower part and we arrived at the minimum length of the plane mirror. Now, let's say this distance from the normal of the mirror till the person eyes be y. And this distance from the normal of the mirror till the person eyes be x. Now, what I will say is that the other distance from the normal to the foot of the man must also be y, and the other distance from this normal to the top of the head of the man must be x. Why are these y and x? Well, I will show you why. Let's look at this. These two angles are same. Angle of incidence and angle of reflection are both same. This side is common and this angle is 90. This angle is also 90. So these two triangles we can see are congruent. That's why these distances must be same. They both are y. And similarly, In the upper two triangles, we will get both the distances to be same x. Now, the total height of the person. What is the total height of the person? You will say it is 2x plus y. Yes. So 2 times x plus y is the height of the person. Let's call it capital H. Now, what is the minimum length of the mirror required? Well, we can see it is x plus y. If the mirror is of this much length and it is placed at this particular location, then the person would be able to see his full image. So let's call this as the minimum length L. Now, if we divide these two equations, you can see that L will come out to be capital H by 2 and x plus y will get cancelled out. So minimum length of the mirror required is total height of the person divided by 2. What was the total height of the person? Well, it is given to be 180 centimeter. So the minimum length of the mirror required is equal to total height of the person 180 divided by 2, and we can see this is 90 centimeter. Can you see that? Yes. Now let's see the options, and option A is the right answer for this question.